paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, yeah, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin Hostler.
No, wait.
Oh?
We're just brainstorm this week. There's no brewery.
There's no brewery this week. Well, you are right. Jason is still recovering from the hangover. They hit hard once you hit 40. But in, the absence of him, look, I'll pop the top on this Red Bull. See?
That was very quiet. That was...
All right, it's not quite the same as cracking the beer.
Silent.
But you know that it happened. Everyone at home, that's the point. So DJ and I are going to go give you a little rarity here. The two-person cast, I don't know. I think, did you and Jason do one of these in the past?
Jason and I have done, I think, two. I think we've done two duo Q casts before. But before anyone turns it off, before anyone is sketched out, before anyone's shaking and quivering and gripping their steering wheel with white knuckles, I want to reassure you it can be done. There's the Dollop. That's a very famous two-person podcast. There's probably a lot of others that you listen to that are reasonable.
Yeah, the two-person format.
The dynamic exists.
Yeah, it's safe to say you might have seen it on a TV show or two.
There are some psychopaths that do one-person podcasts. I think Bill Burr's podcast is just him. There's no guests. It's just him talking.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I
watch Kyle Brandt talk about the NFL from his basement for 45 minutes. It's just him and a camera.
Oh, there's the Tom Segura, Bert Kreschner.
Bert Kreschner,
yeah.
You can just call him the Machine. All his friends do.
Speaking of machines, we got some Optimus Prime cards here to talk about. No, see, that's a good segue.
I want some of those, actually. I don't have any of them yet. That was one of my favorites. We're going to talk here about... we've got a lot coming up. We got a lot from Mark Rosewater that we're going to dig into. We're going to look back a little bit at 2022 and 2023. And I have to say, 2022, one of the highlights for me was the Transformer card. And they did them the right way, right? The stained glass ones are worth infinite.
Yes, this is the correct way to do ultra rarity stuff, I think. The serialized cards are also very good. It's a little weird they kind of come from the same product, but it's fine, I guess. They still sell. I am continuously stunned at how fast I sell out of the Transformer Shatter Glass cards. I list them and then they're gone. Compared to other just reasonably high volume Commander staples, like I sold more Shattered Glass Star Screams this week than like Smothering Ties, I think.
Well, I look at it this way. I mean, it's the Walking Dead effect, right? The
yes.
lots of Transformers fans. I mean, that's literally the only reason I want them. I didn't even watch Transformers as a kid. I wasn't big into them, whatever. I have no personal attachment to it, except for the fact that my kid watches Transformers cartoons, and I think it would be cool to get him cards, right? That alone is enough to make me go buy a Transformers version of a card. And if you're going to buy one, you may as well get the cool one.
Yeah, I don't know if many Transformers fans are buying the $1,000 Shatter Glass foils, but...
But they should be.
Consume, people, consume. Consume products and or services.
I've seen the net cast wider and wider recently. I've seen a big set, and you've probably seen this too, of graded One Piece cards going around Facebook.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, So for people who don't know, I don't know anything about One Piece. DJ's 1,000 episodes in and halfway through something.
Hang on, I have the tab open in my computer.
Okay.
I am on episode 833 Jesus. Out of 1,000 something, 1,050.
And it's still going?
Yes.
Dude,
it's further along in the manga. I'm watching it dubbed, so I'm behind the curve, and once I catch up, there'll be more that needs to be dubbed for me to consume.
There always will be. But good for you. Anyway, they apparently made a card game, and I saw somebody get a bunch of the whatever, probably the famous rarest card is. They had a bunch of, signed or at least, I don't know about signed, but at least graded and slabbed copies of the card. So some people making big bets on other stuff, and that's obviously, I've been involved a lot in Flesh and Blood, which is huge into graded cards and all of this. So I don't know. We talk about
Flesh and Blood
Magic
is so
leaning
weird to me
into
though.
it.
Like it feels like it is just the rehab center for Magic players. That's all it feels like to me. There's no other property that goes into it. Like One Piece, you get, we were just talking, like Transformers fans, Walking Dead fans, there's no like organic Flesh and Blood fans. I feel like how do you enter that game organically?
I'm shocked by the number of people who've never played Magic
Really?
who are at Flesh and Blood. I'll say that.
Are they? What are they coming from? Like,
Your
what
tournament,
is their
listen,
expat status? Are
your
they Yu-Gi-Oh
tournament
players?
Your tournament grinder types are mostly ex Yu-Gi-Oh, ex Magic players, or current. They may just picked up another game, right? Because they heard there was a pro tour or whatever, right? That describes a lot of that level of player. But the people just grinding away in the casual events at the pro tour or at the world championship of that thing, a lot of them are they're not Magic players. They may be people who have played Magic or whatever, but Magic's just another game to them. And then most of them got into it because of the there was a lot of people who identify strongly with individual heroes in the way that game works.
Okay.
So you get people who are a big fan of this character.
Yeah,
and then
I mean that I get. That's Commander, right? That's
yes,
That's
yes, that's exactly right. Because you play
Hearthstone hero. Like, that's just I identify with this fantasy trope. That's people cosplaying as Jinx because they like her. That's
I like the ice
like,
ones because I like the ice cards. You know, like it's it works. I mean, there's no denying that there's a lot of Magic players and everything else in that game. But they do. I mean, they could teach Magic some lessons when it comes to cosplay competitions. How about that? I'll say that. We'll leave it there. Flesh and Blood's been doing it for longer than Magic has, and they gave out better prizes at the beginning. They have a special card based on one of those champions or heroes.
I'm aware of like the seamstress card thing.
Yeah, the Taylor card. Cool. Yeah, you can get the promo card that only goes out to the winners of the cosplay competitions at Pro Tours. Like, that's a lot better than Joanne's gift card. That's all. You know. But yeah, that's what we've had a lot. It's been a busy year for me. I moved. I have learning how to manage 2 kids, but 2023 leads us back to competitive Magic, back to the Pro Tour. Philadelphia is coming up. DJ, you've been at some shows already, but what's 2023 look like for you in terms of, I guess, the circuit?
I guess nature is healing and so is my leg. I spent most of 2022 in physical therapy or recovery from a pretty bad accident last year. The anniversary of it, which is on New Year's Eve. And this year, I am actually going to be at an event roughly every 2 weeks for the first half of the year, which that's what 2019 was. That's what 2018 was. That is the return to pre-COVID to some extent. I mean, of course, there are some restrictions to enter some of these events. Some of them require vaccine authorization or masks or what.
I guarantee you people at home are going, without GPs, how are you going to an event every other weekend? What does the circuit look like for someone buying cards in your...
All right, so my schedule for the first half of the year, I will run through it very quickly. Next weekend, I'll be at SCG-Con New Jersey. 2 weeks after that, I'll be at SCG-Con Indianapolis at the end of January. Then February is Magic 30 in Philly, which is the site of Eternal Weekend. So I was just in Philly. We're already headed back there. Mid-February, then SCG-Con Charlotte at the end of February. Then there is a reasonably big Texas event, the memorial event for Hunter Burton in Dallas.
Yep, I'll be at that.
And then in April, there are 2 West Coast shows back to back. There is the Oakland event run by Laughing Dragon. They are a West Coast sort of, I guess the closest comparison is like sort of equivalent to NRG in size, where like they're trying to upstart their own series on the West Coast for Magic.
The West Coast desperately needs it.
Yes. And then DreamHack San Diego is also in April, Minneapolis in May, and that is as far out as I have planned. So I have basically to May planned out. But
that's
like
a busy
I'm
schedule.
going to be at a lot of events.
That's a busy schedule. And you know what I'm hearing there is for all the doom and gloom of live events and everything else, like you mentioned NRG, They're doing their thing. Star City Con, that's a lot of SCG cons you mentioned. There's the West Coast Tournament Series, which would be awesome. It's a lot more challenging on the West Coast just due to the travel logistics to operate a tournament circuit, but they do desperately need one.
Also, just like the cost of everything is different over there. Like,
yes,
and they basically use a different currency. Let's be real.
I mean, running events out of Roanoke, basing your operations out of Roanoke versus somewhere in California, yeah. A bit different ball game.
There's a reason we always have GP New Jersey, not GP New York.
Yeah. Well, and this gets me every time I go west, but they are really big states over there. It's a long way, even if you're going from like
Corbin,
California to California.
That complaining, that doesn't sound like manifest destiny. You gotta.
I understand. I understand.
Where's your freedom, bud?
That's the secret to operating a tournament series is being able to drive instead of fly, because all of your show equipment is going to have to get transported in between everywhere, right? And it's the distances on the East Coast are a lot more friendly than the distances on the West Coast. So let's hope it works out. I would love to be involved with that one myself. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to Philly. I'll say that. The Pro Tour returns. I will be there. It's going to be 450,000 square feet, they say. Much bigger than Vegas.
I've never been in an event hall that big. I've never actually been to like Gen Con. I've been to so many things, but I've just never been to a lot of the big ones like PAX or Gen Con.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. It's hard for me to even like conceptualize what that looks like. I guess from what I understand.
You're going to have to tell me like somebody has to give us a frame of reference of like how many Walmarts that is for Corbin. Like that's...
Well, I guess I could think about the Vegas we were just at, and they say it's going to be 2 times bigger than that. And it's like, okay, well, I guess that's a big room. But, like, I don't know how that compares to, say, Vegas in 2018 or whatever, when we would have just had the massive one. Or, say, I've been to PAX and Gen Con and all these things. So I don't actually, is 450,000 the square foot in Gen Con? Is that, I don't know, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we don't have, that's information that's completely inaccessible to us.
It's true. Look,
we'll never know.
DJ, you can't start 2023 off being a fact checker, okay?
No, of course not.
No, none of that energy.
I've already set up the bots to delete any YouTube comment that tries to tell us the information. Like I'm running 2023 spoiler free.
That's right. Well, speaking of spoiler free,
I intentionally said that for you, by the way. I tossed that softball and you caught it.
I'm here. I think you would generally say that I hit it, but yes, also it was received. The point is, you're not going to be able to guess a colorless uncommon from the Brothers War.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
For Breaking Bulk.
Brothers War Commander or Brothers War?
I believe it is Brothers War.
I was stalling anyway. I'm probably not going to be able to guess this.
My streak starting 2023 off hot.
I know I'll be able to duel you to a draw because of what mine is, so I'm content.
I understand.
I am content with F6ing and passing.
The answer, there were 2 acceptable answers for the record. The answer we were looking for is Demolition Field, the fixed field of ruin.
Okay, sure. The one that's like doesn't make commander players sad.
Well, or happy, I guess, depending on how you look at it.
Right, you want to be able to play the card. Realistically.
Yeah. But also Haywire Might, by the way, is the most expensive uncommon in the set.
Oh yeah. My brain thinks green card for that one, sure.
Yep, understood. All right. Well, a draw, you say.
Speaking of green cards, I have an invasion uncommon that is green.
Everyone knows about invasion cards.
They're all the rage now.
That's that little triangle symbol.
Okay, where's your brain at?
It definitely looks like that.
No, okay. So for the listeners at home who are watching on YouTube and not watching on YouTube in your car like responsible adults, hang on. I want to do something now. Okay, so you're pull up MS Paint.
It's just a clear.
Open up MS Paint and then screen share it with me,
Mhm.
and then record. No, yeah, change your OBS to that, and then
You want me to do this?
I want you to draw the
Okay.
invasion set symbol right now and record yourself doing it for content.
From memory? Okay.
You don't have to show me, but like, you can show me after. You can show me the end result, I guess. That's probably easier. Yeah, record yourself streaming MS Paint. Draw the triangle thing for me, please.
All right, invasion set symbol. Here we go.
That you quoted this as a triangle thing, right?
Yeah, it's like a triangle-ish thing.
Okay. And this is absolutely a game we're gonna do in the future, by the way. Is that supposed to be symmetrical?
Can you see this? Good.
I can see you.
Yeah.
I can see the thing you're doing.
Well, symmetrical-ish, right? It's just
Ish.
like a little, it's like a little, it's got 3,
No.
It looks like that, man. It looks like that. That's what it looks like. All right, I'm going to go look at it. That's exactly what it looks like. With some more curves.
Give us a YouTube comment and tell us whether or not that is exactly what it looks like. So, the invasion set symbol, I know we joke about shields and every set symbol is a shield, but I think the invasion set symbol is actually a shield, and for the lore nerds, it is the coalition symbol. Like
It's it's one of the fogs. There's all those old fogs.
It's coalition relic. That's what the set symbol is, and that's not a triangle at all. It's more like a trilobite, like the little beetle that runs along the ground.
Yeah, which would not be anything like a triangle, even though they have the same tri at the beginning, the same Latin root. That's what you're telling me? Okay, good point. Nothing like a three. It wouldn't have anything to do with that.
It's like a Kabuto, like the Pokemon.
Constant Miss is the wrong one, but it's one of those.
It is not, no. It is not a fog. The card that I'm referencing does not do fog.
Tangle. Was I thinking of Tangle? There's another one.
You were thinking of
too.
Tangle, yes. And Constant Mist is Stronghold, but it's
yeah. I knew Constant Mist wasn't. Oh well, shit then.
It is a sorcery.
Call of the Herd.
No, that's a rare from Onslaught, I think.
Unleash the Hordes.
What does that card do? Or are you just naming words?
I'm just naming cards, DJ.
It is not that. I don't even know if Unleash the Hordes is it sounds like a real card. Yeah,
it's got to give it extra combat stuff.
If I had to bet my life on it, I would guess that is a
red
string
rare
of words that Wizards has used to make a green
It's
card.
a red rare that gives an extra combat step. I have no idea if it's a real card, but if it was, that's what it would do. I don't know, man.
This card has no reprint, so it's just
Tangle was my good guess.
It's not a bad guess. It spiked to around $1 in 2018, and then it spiked again to around $1 in 2021, and it's coasted back down, and now it's just riding a little 50-cent price tag.
Cool. This is a good DJ pick.
No, a DJ pick would be like the Korean foil misprint version of this card or something. This is a regular old, everyday mom and pop card, Scouting Trek. It is invasion sorcery. It's 1 and a green. Search your library for any number of basic land cards, reveal them, set them aside, shuffle your library, and then put those cards on top in any order.
Never heard of that one, not gonna lie.
I haven't either, but it does a somewhat unique thing in the game. It lets you rearrange a large quantity of your deck to the top. So if you have some sort of way to like look at the top card of your deck until you hit a non-basic or something like that, and just scoop them all up. This card comes with Treasure Hunt to draw all your basic lands, that kind of thing. And then you can pitch them to Seismic Assault or do something silly. But it's just a weird little effect that you might see in a landfall deck somewhere. But it
seems like reprints. It would be pretty good in an Unleash the Hordes deck. Oh.
Unleash the...
You're being a fact checker. Card. You're being a fact checker again.
Shit.
What's it do? Now I need to know.
It's not a magic card. It doesn't exist.
Okay.
We get to make our own magic card now. Unleash the Hordes. But you're right. It's probably a red card that gives combat steps.
Definitely.
Or like adds tokens when you attack or something.
I Googled it, and all I see is people who named their deck Unleash the Horde. A million people who thought they were the only person to ever come up with that name. Huh. Anyway.
I mean, that's the name of the WoW precon coming out next year, right?
The WoW precon?
Like the
I
World
hope
of Warcraft
so.
precon.
What do you mean the World of Warcraft pre? I'm so is that a real thing?
Probably.
It could. I hope so. I mean, it definitely sounds. It would be the. I would love for a World of Warcraft card game to come back out. Like what if it was like a one time? I never played it when it was a thing. You know.
I know
be real
somebody.
fun.
There's somebody in Syracuse who like has the largest stock of WoW TCG cards in like the country or the world or something crazy. I know the guy who has like the stock of the cards.
Is there any value to a dead card game?
I think so. There's because WoW did cards that came with like in-game items.
You're
so
right.
There's like a scratch-off ticket where you can get like
Yes.
some crazy mount, and it's probably $1,000 or something.
Because their other 1,000 mounts aren't good enough.
I want Wizards to do that. Wizards should give us some card that comes in a booster pack, and it's a scratch and sniff card, and when you scratch it off, you get like a 1 of 10 arena, like little guy.
They did the secret lair golf hole.
That's trash. Not that. Like I want a 1 of 10. Like
But
every
they
time,
they
like
blew
you
their
scratch
load.
the thing off, you get something on arena. But if it's
Yeah.
the right codes, you get like a 1 of 10 that shows you were the one that got it.
That'd be cool, sure. I'm just
And then
saying
that card sealed goes for like $300. That
that
awesome.
was like a feat of engineering, having a card that you can peel the front off of, have something cool underneath it, right? Like that was a cool thing Wizards did for that secret lair, and they blew their load on Battlefield Forge. Right? That was the card underneath the golf hole or whatever.
Yes, because it's planes that goes into Battlefield Forge. Yes.
Just terrible. Just terrible. That's all. But what is not terrible, see what we did there, another excellent transition, is Coalesce Apparel, sponsor of this podcast, and now the place you can find EDA Trek shirts as well as Brainstorm Brewery, hoodies, t-shirts, all the gear you want from all your favorite Magic
we have
content
stickers
creators.
now. We got asked for stickers. I had people
Ooh.
ask me, they're like, my son's lunchbox is so undecorated right now. DJ, please help me. He's getting bullied in school. He's getting sand thrown in his face because he doesn't have enough stickers on his lunchbox. And so I read the email. I made some connections. I delved into the black market of sticker forging. And by we, I mean me and Cedric personally, battled through an entire, just like a whole Pulp Fiction army kind of thing, and just like we secure the rights to the stickers. We got the sticker factory running, and we have Brainstorm Brewery branded stickers now, and
That's pretty cool.
you can put them
I'm
on
not gonna
anything.
lie.
You can put them on your car. You can put them on other people's cars. You can
put them on other people's cars. Now you're talking, DJ. If you want to support this podcast, but you're too embarrassed to put a Brainstorm Brewery sticker on your own car or back or t-shirt or whatever, just look, get some of them stickers and just start slapping them on every car you go by. It's like, boom, gotcha. Boom, gotcha. Get all the parents in the drop-off line for your kids. Boom, got another one.
You can put them over top of the Biden "I did this" stickers at the gas station.
There you go. Now we're thinking outside the box. I like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's why you should support Coalesce Apparel and use the Brainstorm Brewery gift code.
The other reason is because we have a brand new shirt, and I wasted my entire ad pitch on that stupid sticker rant. But the thing we actually want to talk about is the new shirt that is designed by Inkland Customs, and it features Cass on the front of the shirt. She is modeling as the woman from the Mercadian Masks Brainstorm. And one of the things that I found was coolest when partnering with Coalesce is the number of people who have bought our shirt that have never listened to the podcast or knows what it is, which is mind-blowing to me.
That no one
Cedric
knows what this podcast is, you mean?
Right, Cedric told me, he's just like, somebody walked up and bought your shirt, and they're like, I like the logo of the brain, and my mom is a neurosurgeon. which is insane, right? That's
I hadn't
so
heard
cool.
that one.
And so I wanted to have a shirt that would appeal to the broader spectrum of Magic players who tend to like, number one, blue Magic cards, and number two, alcohol.
Slap those stickers on your mom's surgery scalpels. You can never have too much branding.
just put them on the window. Like, you know how there's like the operating room window where all the students watch? Like, yeah, just sticker that up.
You could like accidentally lose one inside of somebody during surgery.
10% off will save you so much on those legal fees. You have no idea. Like 10% off the gift code, Brainstorm Brewery.
Yep.
At checkout.
For legal reasons, I have to say that you should not.
Corbin, this isn't Twitter. You don't have to put parody in your name.
You should not.
They can figure it out.
Brainstorm Brewery stickers inside of someone during surgery, no matter how much you like the logo.
What if they like the logo?
We won't be able to ask them, I hope, unless it's outpatient surgery. Anyway, let's move on to this is a topic, and guess what? This was a popular topic in 2022. It was a popular topic in 2021. It's going to be a popular topic in 2023.
Okay, so the two words you're about to say are product deluge. And deluge is your vocabulary word for the week. It means an excess of something, like a giant rainfall is a deluge.
Typically a flood, yeah.
It means there is too much of it. And before I go on, we have this little turntable discussion here. I would like to say that the entire topic of product deluge has a topic deluge, and we've talked too much about it. The product deluge is the what's the deal with airline food of topics in Magic.
I'm on a deluge at this point, okay?
So,
it's a vocab overload.
So do you have semantic satiation for that word yet?
That was some symbols.
Yeah.
Those are words.
It's one of my favorite little like
syllables.
Reddit,
those were syllables.
Reddit learning things.
One more time. Run that bone by me again.
This is another little lesson for everybody. Semantic satiation means that you have heard the same word enough to the point it doesn't sound like a word anymore.
Okay, yeah, that is a thing actually.
It just like melts in your brain, and you're just like, that's a sound. Yep, it is. But yeah, so I understand that the too many products topic has been talked about too much, but there is a very insightful big wall of text from Mark Rosewater that we should address and talk about, much to my chagrin.
Yep. All right, here we go. Asked to Mark Rosewater, the lead designer of Magic the Gathering, on the place where you go for answers in 2023, Logatog. Mark, I'm going to be real with you. Every time we tell you that we have concerns with the volume of product being released, your response thus far has been, we hear you, but get used to it, nerds. I added the nerd part. I realize that you are contractually obligated to refrain from voicing any concerns you might have about the current release cycle, since that would hurt sales, but it comes off as aloof and glib.
Two more great vocab words, by the way. Those are going to be on the test tomorrow.
We're going to play What's the Word here. It's a good game. All right. Like you don't have to care what we think because you think we'll buy whatever you produce anyway. I'd honestly prefer if you didn't say anything about it at all. And this is why, before I get into this answer, this is why Mike Rosewater is in a no-win position. He gets out there, tries to be transparent, says what the company allows him to say, gets crucified for it, says nothing at all, and he's just,
Wizards is silent on this topic.
Yeah,
they won't talk to us about Magic 30.
His
what are they
silence
hiding?
Speaks volumes.
What do they know?
Yeah. All right. Mark Rosewater says, much of Magic's success over the years has come to us from us trying new things. Most of the time, those new things were initially met with a lot of concern. Change is fundamentally scary.
Bring back Mana Bird 2023.
It's always been my job to explain why we're doing what we're doing. I'm not trying to be aloof or glib. I'm trying to be straightforward with all of you and giving you the behind-the-scenes glances of what we're up to. The majority of the time, the new idea pans out to work well for the game, but not always. Sometimes we try something and it fails. When that happens, we adjust and try something else. We're a business. We have no motivations to do things that don't work. If our current approach is fundamentally flawed, that will come out, and I promise you we'll do something different. The metric of success, though, won't be volume of internet chatter. It will be all the metrics we look at: play numbers, sales numbers, digital numbers, social media metrics, market research, etc. So far, for the last 3 years, the metrics have not just been good, but the best we've ever seen. This year, Magic made over $1 billion, something we've never done before. And I work many years into the future. I'm super proud and excited about what all the amazing Magic designs coming your way. None of this is to say that I'm ignoring what people are saying. I hear that many are voicing that there's too much product being made. That's why I made my post, to explain why there's so much. It's not being done without careful thought. We want Magic to be healthy, not just for the present, but for the future. Did anyone throw up in their mouth, or are we buying that?
I am on board, but I think my stance on this is somewhat well read and run over into the ground based on the past few months at Brainstorm Brewery. But I am very satisfied with that answer, and I know it will not be enough to satiate Reddit or Twitter, but I am content with it, and I will continue doing my thing going into next year.
It's a good answer, and this is what I keep telling people, and I need to repeat this part. The metric of success will not be internet chatter. It will be all the metrics we look at. For the last 3 years, the metrics have not just been good, but the best we've ever seen. Now, talking about Magic making over $1 billion, okay, well, you released a lot of secret layers last year. You've never done that before either. So, hey, good for you, Wizards. But again, this is what I tell people. He listed play numbers, sales numbers, digital numbers, social media metrics, market research, etc. They don't care what Twitter says. Even if Twitter's not wrong, Twitter is not everyone. This is interesting. I think that there's something to be said for both sides here. And I think Mark Rosewater's right that they'll adjust. I think the argument would be that as they do tend to work years into the future, and as a giant corporation, they make projections years out and they make budgets, at a minimum a year in the future, that they could be very behind the times. And that if something, starts to trend in the wrong direction, it can go pretty quick. We talk all the time about how important market consumer confidence is just for sort of everything underlying Magic. And that's sort of what they're dancing with here. Now, I'm with DJ in that this is about as good of an answer as people can hope for when they're being told to, I'm not going to say shut up and go away, but basically
they're being told that they're
check
wrong,
yourself.
and they're not being allowed to scrutinize Wizards' private data as a company. They're like, let me see your budget, let me see the numbers, let me use my stats 101 class, and I'll get into the heart of this to show you why you shouldn't have released those secret layers with a post Malone on them. Like, they're being told to sit in a corner and go to timeout.
Well, yeah, we talk about Wizards is a reactive company, and they are slow to react sometimes, but they do react. That's what Mark Rosewater is saying, and what he's saying is,
I think a really big, not concern. I think a really big point here, or an example, I guess is the best way to put it, is when Wizards does react in a just quick pivot, just heel turn. Oh God, let's change direction immediately. It doesn't usually work out too well. If anybody played Magic in 2017, 2018-ish era, you will remember when they changed standard rotation and then immediately changed it back some months later after Twitter got mad.
It's a disaster.
And then we were stuck with some of the worst constructed formats we'd ever seen up until that point.
I don't know if Twitter's to blame for that one, but that was something. They made it the move. We all actually applauded the move of moving to 2 set blocks with 2 a year and rotation happening twice a year, once every 6 months. It seemed pretty good. It seemed like it was going to refresh a lot of stuff, but they must have had such incredibly negative feedback through whatever channels they're using that they pulled the plug on that thing instantly, and without any time for the designers to, that we had cards in standard that weren't meant to work together. And DJ said it was pretty terrible.
I
don't know.
Masterpieces themselves from the same era are kind of in the same spot where Battle for Zendikar expeditions were great.
Yeah.
Kaladesh masterpieces were beautiful, and then they did something with Amonkhet that clearly was changed at the last minute, or something was done where the theme didn't work out, so they didn't really have a theme for Amonkhet, and then they just stopped them.
You're right. That's another bizarre one, because that was another thing that we cheered when they did it. We said, this is great. It gives people a way to chase cards. It'll bring down the price of standard. It turns your $15 standard lands into $5 standard lands because everyone's chasing the Soul Rings or whatever. Now, as long as they don't do too much of it, and then they just immediately blew the top off of it and then shut the whole thing down within like a year.
Y'all want slaughter pacts? No.
I opened up, I think it was Ether Revolt. I opened up multiple cases and I got 1 Black Vice. What was it? 1 Black Vice as my masterpiece. It felt pretty bad. And that's the thing. It shouldn't ever feel bad to open a masterpiece, right? Like that should just be a very basic. Like you should never feel bad when you open up the incredibly rare thing. And if your game is doing that, then you have done something wrong. I'll leave it at that because that's what happened around that time period. Now, of course, we have collector boosters and serialized cards and everything else. They've learned some lessons along the way.
They've learned some lessons, but some of those lessons, we still have that problem of people opening the ultra rare thing and it being worthless. One of the ways I go back to that is during Theros Beyond Death. It was one of the first collector booster sets where people were just cracking collector boosters nonstop everywhere. And people would bring up, like, the foil mythic god of the set. Yeah. And they'd bring it up to the booth at GP New Jersey and say, hey, I opened up the foil mythic god from the set. What will you give me? And then I said 2 whole United States dollars. And then they did question mark emoji, thinking emoji, crying emoji even. How? And then I would turn the laptop around and say, you can buy it from TCG for $4 if you want retail. And then they would just be disheartened because they opened up the cool thing that was worth nothing. And that's been a criticism of mine of collector boosters for a long time, of all of ours, I think, is that when you open up collector boosters, you should not have draft commons. You should not have just these worthless slots dedicated to just things that don't matter. Like just a week or two ago, we were talking, they're removing 6 commons from packs. Good, fine. Give us 6 card packs. Make the cards feel more important.
Yeah, that's a lot to that. I agree. I agree. So a couple other things I wanted to quickly touch on in Mark Rosewater's response here is that I think a lot of people would point out that he does seem to go back and forth with the fact that Magic made over $1 billion as the end-all be-all of success.
Right. And Mark Rosewater's excitement for a product, I'm not saying that you should take Mark Rosewater's excitement level for a product at face value. He was real hyped up for Energy. Remember that? Yeah. Remember how he went 10 years trying to get Energy into Standard?
I was there when they revealed that at PAX, man.
Mom, we have mana at home, like.
Yeah. Look, all of which is to say that Twitter is not real life, as JJ, our editor, would say. But look, the important thing is, I think that everything Mark Rosewater says, when especially he says, we want Magic to be healthy, not just for the present, but for the future, he means it. Everyone there means that. That doesn't necessarily align with the CEO of Hasbro saying you've tripled your profits in the past 3 years. We're going to triple your profits again in the next 3 years. That's... You know, those things don't necessarily jive.
That is some multi-level marketing levels of unsustainable. Like, tell your friends, and then your friends should tell 5 friends, and then those 5 friends should tell 5 friends, and then, like, that exponentially ends to, like, everybody on the planet working at, like, HerbalLife in the next 5 years or something. Like, it's
that whole thing is it takes a lot less time than you think, too.
It's like 13 or 14 cycles of 5x.
Yeah,
it's like 5. It's 5 to the 13th power. I think equals 7 or 8 billion people.
We're all HerbalLife now. So that's that. I guess that's neither here nor there. It does seem like Wizards is trying to slow down a little bit, at least in maybe the way they preview things. So if nothing else, some of this is what comes across your timeline. If they release a product that's not for you and you never find out about it, then you're not complaining about it either, right? So. Maybe they just don't hype everything online.
If a Magic product is released in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does Twitter complain?
Answer is does Twitter? Yes. I think most of Magic Twitter would use the last 1% on their phone. Were they stranded in the woods? They have one final act to make with their cell phone. I think it would be to dunk on someone on. Just, I don't know. Maybe it's a bad take. I don't know. Just saying that. We need our Twitter. Clap emojis. Moving on.
Spend your $8 on Twitter Blue and redirect it to our Patreon. Do yourself a favor.
I thought about Twitter Blue.
I know you have.
It'll promote you in the replies.
It'll promote so many replies of just people posting that picture of like this MF paid for Twitter. Those are all the replies you'll get.
I love it. I love it. And also, it turns out that you look at Twitter, and everyone who has paid for Twitter is just like the worst people on Twitter. It really turns you off from paying for Twitter, you know? It's become a personality trait.
I miss, like, okay,
Internet's
I love
fascinating.
it when video games have broken patches, just for, or even card games have like a broken
Yeah, I
patch
think
for
so
like a
too.
month.
I think so too.
We all get to do the stupid thing. Some people try to fight against the stupid thing, and then we all look back from it a year from now and be like, remember Hogak? Those are the good, and your clinking glasses, and like, man,
That's fun.
you were allowed to play Stoneforge Mystic, but only in the precon it came with. I
That's
my
an
favorite
all-timer.
broken Twitter patch is the one where you could pretend to be George Bush for a day. That was peak where like you could pay $8 to like be George Bush and be like
Yes.
lol 9/11. That was
Yes.
the best Twitter patch.
The Musk machine rolls on, and that's it never stops. Speaking of never stopping, we never stop. That's why we're bringing you picks of the week starting 2023 off right, courtesy, of course, from MTGStock, generous sponsor of this podcast, best place around the internet for all your financial information. Of course, you can use the premium to get alerts, find trends, underpriced cards, expanded interests, and more insights. You know what MTGStock is. It's the best
MTG
place
Stocks
around.
came out with their big yearly data dump article, the reserved list data dump for all the best reserved list cards if you had bought in 2021 and hold them until the end of the year of 2022. They came out with a different data dump for the non-reserve list cards for all the stocks. So like all your Hellcarver demons and bulk mythics that went to $10. So they gave you
These are fun. These are good.
they gave you that data for free, for literal $0. That is data. That is like programmer hours. That is graphic designer hours. That is like somebody's time marketing and doing all this stuff at MTG Stocks for free. If you take a fraction of the money you made as an HerbalLife distributor and you just give it to them instead, just a fraction of our Patreon money, just drop down from our Patreon money and give it to them for just a month or two, just to validate their marketing pitch and just validate some of their decisions to sponsor our podcast, because we throw your money away. We make sticker fortresses. It's not great, but do a capitalism, everybody. Have your New Year's resolution to do as many capitalisms as you want and as you can, and even do the ones you can't. Like just take out a bunch of credit cards. It's fine.
Sure.
The
So,
year's not going to last that much longer.
DJ, would you have guessed that the top gainer for 2022 via that list is the Galaxy foil of Quick Fixer in an Infinity?
That feels like an outlier. Like the
It
definition
does. I
of
don't
an
know what this
outlier.
card is per se. Open an attraction. I guess this is probably the best attraction thing. I do have a friend who made an attraction commander deck. It's a real thing. But after that was Ledger Shredder, specifically the extended art, but Ledger Shredder was a huge gainer. Then we see older cards, Fervent Charge from Apocalypse.
That one was Ishin Two Heavens is one from. So there's a decent number of cards on here throughout the year,
Yeah.
like probably like 15 or 20 that are just like card from pre 2015 era that got its commander printed this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a
Yeah.
decent number of those.
Well, what's also interesting to me is how many new cards are on this list. Ledger Shredder. I don't know about Hallowed Moonlight. That's from Magic Origins, but that's a newer card. But Cavalier of Thorns,
Wedding
Announcement,
Orvar,
yeah,
Cyberdrive
yeah.
Awakener. That's like a legacy one that is
Unlicensed Hearse. That card was really cheap when it came out. It's absolutely not now.
So Cass's pick of the week has been like 5 of these. You realize that, right?
Cass good at this.
Like Cass has picked like 7 of these cards on this list and just like pinned them to the wall when they were 50 cents and then said go buy them. And then you did, and then you used that money to become an HerbalLife distributor, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're saying is that this podcast was manipulating the market, DJ.
I prefer the term moving the market, which has not yet been trademarked by Braden yet.
Okay, there you go. All right, well, these picks are they're moving anyway. I'm going to start things off with pick of the week here.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
I'm going to look at an old favorite, a card that was once a $20 bill, and is now absolutely not thing in the ice. Is sub $5. But it's seen a resurgence. People are playing formats with this card again. As DJ and I were talking about before the show, there are actually a lot of 2-drops. I think there's a red egg you can use in this spot. There's things that make tokens, your young pyromancer variants. Lots of 2-drops for your blue-red spells deck. But Thing in the Ice is sort of unique in that when it transforms, it bounces everything else. That's a pretty strong effect. It's seen some renewed play and some renewed price movement. It's up from about $350 to $450. So I'm looking at Thing in the Ice. Kick things off for 2023.
Sure.
All right, DJ, you only get one first pick of the year. What's it going to be?
I get as many first picks of the year as I have years left, which I don't want to know that number.
True.
So thanks for thinking.
Okay,
thanks
fair
for
enough.
reminding me of my own mortality. Corbin.
Yep. We're all
Thanks
dying,
thanks for just pointing out the sword of Damocles that lives above my head. That is climate change. Thanks.
You know what? Some of you at home, you're going to die too.
Some?
I said it.
Now you're bringing immortality into this?
I said it. I'm not going to claim to speak for everyone.
My pick of the week has no reason to go up right now. It is a DJ pick. It is a pick that it's a very cheap card from a very old set. It could get reprinted, but there's a couple of things I think that prevent it from getting hit really hard. Seton Crozen Protector is one of the only Druid tribal cards that exists. It is an Odyssey legendary creature. It is an OG commander. It just turns all of your druids into mana dorks.
Never heard of this card. I'll tell you that.
It was a bulk rare for a very long time. It has just slowly crept up over the past pandemic years to be around $2. This is a card that I want to own several copies of, just as like a pet play. If I were to throw some fun money at Magic and say, where do I just want to put like $20 and just like see what happens? This is not the worst card to own, I think. If they print a bunch more commanders next year, which you and I know they will, some number of them will be weird tribal cards.
Yeah, and
if one of them is a druid commander, this is a $20 card for like 2 weeks.
This and the other. What's the other?
Guiltleaf Archdruid is the one you're thinking of.
Yep, that's the one. I love that one. For those people who don't know, Guiltleaf Archdruid.
Guiltleaf Archdruid has a bit of a higher buy-in. It was also reprinted in the list, which I guess makes it not have a higher buy-in. I thought it was like a $5 or $6 card, but
I was saying I honestly didn't even know the price, but I just know that when I got into Magic, it was around this time period, and this was one of the cards when I saw it that really kind of opened my mind in my very early Magic days to what you could do with Magic. Tap 7 on tap Druid you control, gain control of all lands target player controls. Now, some people might call that mass land destruction and get mad at you, but that won't stop it from being a $20 card. Along with
it also lets you rules lawyer and pull out like the guy with glasses emoji and be like, well, I didn't destroy your lands, I just took them, they're mine, I didn't destroy them at all.
That's not mass land destruction.
But I'm actually like, I didn't know this card was $2. I would very much pick this card in the same vein. Yeah. This is a very, very nice pickup at $2. Same with Seton, you can diversify if you want, but like, I'm just betting that there is a chance that if they print a card in 2023 that has the words legendary and druid in the rules text, both of these are $10 cards again.
Yep.
I say
100%,
100 there, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, 100% agree. And druids are a fun tribe. Just saying. I think it'd be a good tribe for them to explore further. I just like stealing people's lands, I'll be honest.
I mean, you could honestly make it even less of a stretch and less of just a Hail Mary guess and say Lord of the Rings set having a druid.
I was thinking about that though, and I don't. Now there's somebody out there who's probably going to check me. I don't think Lord of the Rings has anything about druids in particular. Like it's not even a word I think that really appears it references anybody in the books. So
I am not an expert either in this. So
yeah, I don't know that that's a creature type we'd end up with, but my mind also went there. We'll see. I'm more interested to see what they do with hobbits. I think they're going to end up calling them halflings, but
there will probably be a lore that just says hobbits, halflings, and kithkin, and it just like scoops them all into the same tribe to allow you to build that synergistic.
They could, they've been more aggressive about like they did the Phyrexian creature type update. What if they just became like halfling Kithkin. You know, what if they just were like, it's like whatever, 30 cards, we'll just errata them all or whatever. I don't know how many there are. It's 2 sets worth, right, of Kithkin.
Wow, are there
Oh,
really
no,
that few Kithkin?
Well, they apparently go back to Legends.
There is
Alright,
one from Legends, but like I didn't know there were that few Kithkin. I thought there were like 1 or 2 that just popped up on other planes, but
How many? So what are we just looking at? A couple dozen, probably.
you are spot on when you said 30. There's 28.
Okay.
There
Okay,
are 28
yeah.
cards where the text includes Kithkin on Scryfall.
Yeah, so it would be an easy errata to make them halfling Kithkins, which I don't know what wizards they have rules about creature types and classes or whatever. I don't know anything about that.
There's
But
six,
it would be
so
cool.
there's 28 that have Kithkin in the rules text. There are 61 actual creatures that fall under that creature type, but they're all still basically Eventide, Shadowmoor lore.
Yeah, I mean it's just super doable. I just like to see that. Like, I don't know. I'm someone who has a Tovolar deck built, so the disconnect between werewolves across blocks is really rough. I would hate to see the same thing happen to the poor old Kithkin. All right, well, there you go, everybody. We got through a 2-person podcast. It was different. It was fun. There was less beer. We'll hopefully have Jason back for you all next week. But thank you all for joining us here on the first episode of 2023. We appreciate all of our supporters who made 2022 wonderful. Everyone who is a member of our community at patreon.com/BSB, on the YouTube channel, on the Discord server. Come check out the Patreon if you get a chance. We appreciate all of your support. We're looking forward to a great year.